What up, my people? This your main man, Math Moses, and today we're going to talk about the square root quotient rule. Did you know that you can take a square root that is dividing two factors and separate the square root for each factor? So you'll have the square root of A, the numerator, and square root of B, the denominator, with two separate square roots. Let's try this out on a few examples. Let's take the square root of 9 divided by 25. We can write that as the square root of 9 over the square root of 25. Now we can simplify even further the square root of 9 over square root of 25 because they're both perfect square roots. And we get square root of 9 is 3 and the square root of 25 is 5. So the square root of 9/25 breaks down or simplifies into 3/5. How about the square root of 25 over 49? We can simplify by writing the square root of 25 divided by the square root of 49. Again, we can simplify even further and we'll get the square root of 25 is 5 and the square root of 49 is 7. So the square root of the square root of 25 49ths simplifies into 5/7. Now let's take the square root of 64 over 100. We simplify by writing the square root of 64 over the square root of 100. Now the square root of 64 simplifies into 8 and the square root of 100 simplifies into 10. But we can even go one step further because 8/10 has a common factor of 2. So we can divide both of these by 2 and we'll get 4/5. So the square root of 64 100 simplifies into 4/5. Now lastly, we have this example of the square root of 16 over the square root of 5. Watch carefully because this is a special kind of a square root. Quotient rule. We simplify by writing the square root of 16 over the square root of 5. Now we can take the square root of 16, which is 4, but the square root of 5 is not a perfect square root, so it remains root 5. Now the answer is 4 over root 5, but we can go one step further by doing what's called rationalizing the denominator. Okay, and that simply means to remove the square root from the denominator. And we do this by multiplying both the numerator and the denominator by that square root. So we will multiply by the square root of 5 to top and bottom. Now, let's go ahead and simplify even further by multiplying. 4 times root 5 is 4 root 5, but 5 times root 5 becomes the square root of 25, and the square root of 25 is 5. And so the square root of 16 divided by 5 simplifies into 4 root 5 over 5. Again, this is called rationalizing the denominator.